Hi there, it's Jenny from Quick Anime Recap. And today we're continuing the part 3 of the anime. Uzaki-chan wants to hang out. So sit tight and enjoy the video. The anime continues with Suki Uzaki, Uzaki's mother, watching a TV drama about a young man falling in love with a married woman, while she is waiting for Uzaki and Senpai to arrive. Meanwhile, Senpai explains that he wants to return the leftover money back to her mom, as he feels guilty that she pays him too much for just buying a new futon. Noticing Senpai is nervous about going to her house, she calms him by mentioning her pet cats in her house, which worked like a charm. Arrived at her house, Suki introduces herself to Senpai, which she is surprised to learn her senpai is a boy, but she is immediately terrified by his scary glare. They then sit at the living room, whereas then Suki gets mad at Uzaki for staying at a boy's place, and she apologized to Senpai for the troubles she caused. Senpai then stares at the cat on her lap, which she misinterprets as he is staring at her oppai. Her misunderstanding is further proven when she hears Senpai says he wants to hold it one day, not knowing he is actually talking about the cat. At the cafe, Suki shows up to watch Uzaki work, and is surprised to see Senpai is working there as well. Amy and Mr. Asahi then compliments Uzaki for being a hard worker, and her ability to get along with the customers, despite it is her first time working. Which Suki expresses that she is glad her daughter is doing well. Out of the blue, she asks them if Senpai ever mentions that he prefers older women, shocking them both. Realizing the situation, they manage to clear up the misunderstanding about Senpai. After the misunderstanding is seemingly cleared up, she once again misinterprets the situation, when she hears him and Uzaki talking about some roasted beans. Later at his house, Senpai inadvertently insulted her for being rude, despite having a kind mother. So, Uzaki begins to monitor her mother's demeanor around the house, and acts like her mother the next day. This greatly bothers Senpai, as he is not used to Uzaki for being so kind and considerate. Forcing him to apologizes for insulting her that day. After she returns her usual self, they get into argument which leads to a young customer giving them a lottery ticket so they can make up. Surprisingly, when they use the ticket, they win a one-day trip to Tottori, where two mysterious person is following them. As it turns out, the two person are Itsuhito and Amy. And they hatch a plan beforehand, planning to take them to various couples hangout spots, in order to ensure that Uzaki and Senpai's relationship goes to the next level. When they arrived at the first spot, the Tottori sand dunes, Uzaki challenges Senpai to a race to reach the ocean first. Despite Uzaki cheats by using a surfboard, she still loses to Senpai. As they are enjoying the ocean view, Senpai notices a lovey couple are showing affections publicly, prompting Senpai to quickly drag Uzaki away, while the two watch them from afar. After that, they went to Hakudo Shrine, where Uzaki buys some rabbit cakes to share with Senpai, and they once again notice the couple doing the same as well, which embarrassed them both. They then pray for a safe trip at the shrine, where they noticed all of the love fortunes and couples around the shrine. Finally realized the situation, Amy and Itsuhito reveal to them that Tottori is famous for being a destination for couples, much to their chagrin. After having some brief uneasiness, Senpai tells Uzaki that they are here to enjoy the trip and nothing more. But they aren't able to do so, as the place is riddled with couples. Next, they all went to sauna together, and when Uzaki asks to borrow Senpai towel, she trips and falls on top of him. Hearing the noise they make, the worker quickly tells them to save it in private. Following that, they roam around the town, and Itsuhito is disappointed to see their relationship hasn't changed much, but Amy notes this is just the beginning of the show. Entering the Mizuki Shigeru Road, they admire the vast variations of bronze statues built across the road. They then end their trip by visiting the museum. Now back from the trip, Senpai notices his room is getting messy, because Uzaki keep bringing her stuff into his house. When Uzaki arrives at his place, he starts complaining to her about the mess she had made, demands they clean it up together. But his anger is mediated when she reveals that she plans on cooking a meal for him. At the cafe, when Amy put Senpai in charge of the food prep, Uzaki questioned his cooking skill, but he boastfully says he knew how to cook. In spite of that, his cooking turns out to be a disaster, earning him a huge laugh from Uzaki. Because of this, Senpai asks Uzaki to teach him how to cook, which she bring him over to her house, since she learned all of her cooking from Suki. While they are kneading udon dough, Suki manages to have a normal conversation with Senpai, and she realizes Senpai is actually a kind and easygoing person, despite his frightening eyes. But unfortunately her impression of Senpai is once again affected, when she misinterprets Uzaki and Senpai's conversation about petting cats. After enjoying the udon noodle they made, they decide to hang out at a rock climbing gym. Which after the instructor briefed them through the rules of rock climbing, they immediately begins to challenge each other. However, the competition is quickly ended, when Uzaki gets stuck on the rocks, prompting her to give up. Even though she is tired, she lets Senpai go for another round while she watches him, since she knew Senpai is having a lot of fun. Sometime later, Uzaki and Amy run into Senpai at a karaoke bar. Senpai is mortified of it, because they found out he likes to sing alone at karaoke. Feeling bad for him, Amy and Uzaki try out some erotic costumes, as a way to improve his mood. In contrast, this only makes Senpai feel even more embarrassed. The following day, Senpai greets her as usual, but he stops when a despondent Uzaki tells him that she cannot hang out with him anymore. She explains she did some unthinkable stuff, and couldn't bring herself to meet him anymore. Worried for her, Senpai says he will help her in any way he can, without hesitation. Hearing this, she immediately drops the act, and reveals the reason why she cannot hang out with him is, she forgot to do her summer break homework. Annoyed by her tricks, Senpai closes the door on her, and tells her to finish her homework by herself. At the cafe, Senpai vents out his anger about yesterday to Mr. Asahi, where it is then Mr. Asahi accidentally injures his back trying to lift a heavy box, forcing Senpai to send Mr. Asahi to a chiropractor to fix his back, which makes Amy temporarily takes over as manager. While Senpai and Mr. Asahi are at the chiropractic clinic, Amy asks Uzaki how she and Senpai first met, which she reminisces about the past, when she first joined the swimming club at school. Her first impression of Senpai was scary, as it was her first time seeing such a menacing glare. But she later elaborates that the more she gets to know him, the more she realizes he is a great person. After hearing her story, Amy adds that Uzaki is beginning to talk like Senpai, insinuating they have become a lovely couple. To which, Uzaki runs away in an embarrassment. The next day, out of curiosity, Uzaki asks everyone at the cafe what Senpai is like when he is drunk, as she never saw him showing any emotions. Luckily for her, Itsuhito just so happens to know the perfect plan to make Senpai drunk. The plan begins with Uzaki having a drinking party at his place, to lower his guard. Continuing with that, she prepares some spicy foods for him, to keep him drinking. With the finishing touch, they watch movies together, distracting him so he wouldn't notice how much he has been drinking. Now in his drunken state, Uzaki uses this opportunity to toy with him. But when Senpai confesses his true feeling to her, she starts hammering down all the beers to get over the embarrassment. Itsuhito then went in to check on them, and he sends them to bed before leaving. The next morning, they are shocked to realize they slept in the same futon. They then went to the cafe, where they have a hard time remembering what happened last night. Upon knowing they slept in the same futon yesterday, Mr. Asahi immediately closes the cafe, and requests them to elaborate the story. But they are disappointed when they says nothing really happened that night. Once summer break is over with, Uzaki and Senpai return to campus, where he tells her that they will always be together, whenever they hang out. Thanks for watching the video. Still want to watch more anime recap? Click the videos on the screen to watch more. And don't forget to subscribe to catch the latest upload. Bye!